Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Dina with Impressive Warrior, and we're going to be starting a new channel for the plants and poultry and homesteading channel, Wispy Willow Homestead. We'll get some stuff out there very soon, but for today we're talking about how to take your tomatoes from overcrowding and flailing here. Mine even have a red stem, which is a nutrient difference. We're going to take them from the tray and we're going to turn them into some pruned and potted up sized tomatoes. Looks a lot more breathing room here. You can see we've got a lot less congestion. So let's talk about it. First, let's talk just a little bit about soil. We've got a potting mix here. I tend to use a little bit heavier mix after the seeds have already been started. Here we have very rich composted manure that I purchased at the store, as well as the potting mix. And the third one is just this topsoil mix, and I end up using the heavier composted manure on the bottom to hold the moisture for the root development, and then I put the plant in and top it off with the topsoil. From the tray, I like to go up a size to approximately the solo cup size. From here, we like to add a nice little scoop into each one of the receiving cups here. Depending on how large and deeply rooted your plants are, I don't put a lot of dirt in the bottom. I like to put the tomatoes in particular rooted all the way to the bottom. You'll see that in a moment, so I don't start out with too much in the cups to begin. Got about 40 cups here ready to receive the next seedlings here. We've got some tomatoes already starting here. We'll be pruning those, showing you how it's done. This one, I have a lot of multiples. We sowed a couple seeds and they came up together. Some people would pull the little ones off of the base of the other one and just cull them, but I like to save every last seed because why not? Here's our tray to begin with. We started out with just these little plugs, and I like to get them just a little bit wet beforehand, and you can pull that off of the base tray here and just kind of squeeze and work the bottom, and then you can see it loosening here, and then the whole thing ideally will lift out just like that. When your tomatoes have been in a tight situation, they will often start to grow outwards to seek for the light, and this is just fine. It doesn't make that any worse for the wear, and in fact, as we prune this and put it down in, we're going to end up planting this sideways so that all of the submerged part of the trunk of this seedling is going to start growing roots up here. That's a unique thing to tomatoes. So in order to do that, we're going to need to take off these bottom two little leaf sets, and also to prune this appropriately, we're going to look at any growing in the crotch of another. So here we're going to call that's a two-way split here at the top. We're going to cut this entire small branch from there. Apologies for the camera action here, guys. So I like to gently take that piece and just clip it with my fingernails right at the base. A lot of people don't like the smell of tomatoes after some time, so you can wear your gloves and use your tools as well. So again, these base leaves are going to come right off. As well, if you're starting with some smaller plants, some of them will have these baby leaves. I don't see any on my plants here, but they'll be starting to yellow at the base. Those will always fall off. So as I said, we took off that one. We're going to just leave that as is. We're going to put that into the tray, and then we're going to continue on with some of these others. Let's keep going and do a few more of these together. Again, we're going to look for the good top branches to stay intact. Clip off the interior one. This one, we can see this one is growing in the center. And also this one being the lower immature branch. We're going to just take that off. And removing the leaves doesn't damage the plant. It helps it to concentrate its growth towards the leaves that are remaining. And it puts more energy into root propagation with less leafing. So we just like to take off some of those other ones while we transplant so that the growth goes into spreading its roots into the container. So here we go, just a couple more, clipping off the top. I like to leave something like 3. Sometimes if you have a split here, I might take both of these. It's something closer to known as topping, where you take that center lead off and that makes it bush out quite a bit more than the ones that continue to have a tall center, the leggy ones such as this. So, yep, we may as well take off this bottom one as well. Letting these breathe quite a bit here. Might as well take that whole top there. This whole top as well. Yes. Letting that branching go in 3 separate directions helps it be more efficient with its growth habitat. Again with this one, 3 separate directions. There we go. We'll keep going and get that done. So we're going to be separating these ones. Usually if the soil is nice and healthy and moist, you can just gently work it just a little bit and then take your 2 stems. This is going to be problematic with one hand, but you're going to see how those start to peel right apart. Of course, it doesn't always work out so well, but that's how that's done. As far as culling goes, these 2 tiny little saplings are in a much different state from each other. This one in the foreground there is actually looking terrible, and at its base it has this little whitish mildew looking thing, where this one looks upright and very healthy. We're going to keep and preserve this one in a smaller plug, but that one is compost. Here's that little guy. Didn't come with much rootstock, but we're going to shove it right into the tray and give it another chance, and we'll prune that up too. Again, we submerged that as far as we could down there, and it's going to have roots start to grow all along the stem that's submerged. Even the little 4-pack, we're going to try to get that and spread it into 4 pieces. Not bad at all. This is what we're leaving in the tray. Last chance I see you. Got to finish pruning and distribute all of these extras. Time to add the dirt. Again, I like to use a little bit more sandy mixed topsoil grade just to get them acclimated to garden. And we're going to put this in to each of the cups and make sure that the plant is nice and surrounded by soil. Again, I like to submerge the stem quite a bit. The more roots you have, the more opportunity you have to grow more fruit-making leaves above. So we're going to even go just a little extra scoop here. Looks nice. We're not going to tap that down too much. And we're going to get them all watered in after we get them all set. Let's keep going. There we have it. I did have one break here. You might be able to see the two top branches broke apart from each other here. So we're just going to let that go. It will probably scar up and heal itself. And the last thing that you want to make sure, you don't want to have your leaves touching the soil if you can help it. Every once in a while, if there are some that are touching each other, I'll just twist around the containers to make sure that they have space. And if there is something that was going to touch the soil here, you can clip these leaves and branches right at the end too. They're very forgiving plants here. So there you have it. That's your basics. Thanks for watching, guys. Please consider subscribing to both this channel as well as the Wispy Willow Homestead channel. Thanks for watching.